And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. It is good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to see you guys. I am Stephen Chalmers, joined as always with my partner on the right side of the screen, Brian Odell. Deli, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Man, it's been a long time since we've been here. Hopefully we're welcomed nice and warmly back into this thing. It's been a month. Not very proud of it. Life just keeps getting in the way. But hey, we're back tonight. We're going to start doing some not start. We got one show for this one. No series on this. Just a show for bold predictions for the 2024 season. Me and Steve did pretty well last year for our bold predictions. We're going to try running back one more time, see if we can't cash in on some more hot takes for you guys.
Yeah. So this is always one of my favorite shows that we do for the year leading into training camp. So we've been doing some training camp coverage here and there, and now it's time to do our bold predictions. It's time to step away from the rookies for a minute. Let's get some predictions in here going. So, with that being said, I'll let Ryan start it off.
Bet. So I think me and Steve here are coming with 4 each. My first one kind of comes as a 2-for-1 special, but I think the one I stand most firmly on is with the Seattle Seahawks offense. One, and me being a big JSN guy, I think he makes that step in year 2 and cracks the top 25 wide receivers coming into the season. I don't think that's too far-fetched by any means. I mean, we're coming into a season where Tyler Lockett's going to be 31 years old. Ryan Grubb comes in from Washington, who featured 2 great receivers last year who garnered both over 110 targets. I think it's a situation where you're going to see more so a Geno in 2022 where he threw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, more so than it was last year where he struggled here and there. I think they're going to be looking more for a passing system this year than a running system that they've been used to. I'm excited to see these 2 guys work. And then for the flip side of it, I also think DK Metcalf gets back into that 10 touchdown range. I think you can go for 10 plus this year. Every year in, year out, it seems like he's at the top of the list for red zone targets. And I don't expect that to change this year. Dude's just a beast. When you get inside the red zone, he's great in jump balls, great in fade routes in the end zone. If he can get the ball in his hands, he's probably bringing that thing down.
Yeah, that was also mine. DK was one of mine as well. We haven't discussed these, so
we're going to have some overlap, which I would imagine.
Yeah, we're going to overlap. I'll start off with one outside of it. So I'm a big fan of this guy. He is healthy now. He's one of 2 tight ends to ever have 1,000 yards as a rookie. So my bold prediction starts with the fact that I believe Kyle Pitts will lead all tight ends in receiving yards.
Okay.
So last year going into it, we all know about the MCL tear that happened in 2022 going into 2023. Truly believe that Kyle Pitts wasn't healthy. Just the overall agility, lateral movement, quickness in and out of breaks that we expect from Kyle Pitts as the elite athlete he is. We never saw it. On top of the fact that Desmond Ridder gave him one of the worst uncatchable target rate percentages in quite some time. And I believe he had over 1,400 unrealized air yards last year. It was a big number for Kyle Pitts. It came to fantasy fruition. So I'm going to go with this. Kirk Cousins, insert him into Atlanta. Kyle Pitts will lead all tight ends in receiving yards.
Okay, that's funny. I actually have a tight end take in my book over here. Don't hate it. I think we're well past due to see what Kyle Pitts is actually capable of. I think he's got a good shot with Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, given he does kind of garner more towards tight ends his whole career. I get Drake London is there, but I mean, you got to throw to more than one guy, right? It's Pitts and it's London, and outside of that, it's not a great star-started squad past that. So I'm not mad at the Kyle Pitts take. I just hope that he can finally give us what he was drafted for when he was taken 7th overall, 4th overall, even worse. But yeah, I mean, it's been years waiting. We've been waiting for this. I think we kind of expected him to continue that 1,000-yard season not last year and kind of keep pushing that pace. But we'll see him get back with Kirk Cousins this year. So I'll go in with my tight end take that I had. I'm going to be clashing a little bit here. For me, I think tight end 1 overall this year, Dalton Kincaid. I think he's a guy in the Buffalo Bills offense that can really take that step forward. I mean, you saw at the end of the season last year, he was garnering 10 plus targets in multiple games. Seeing these high volume games, you figure in the same offense that's lost Stephon Diggs, who's an absolute target hog, and Gabe Davis. Do what you will. I mean, that was still a part of their offense. He's gone. And you're left with what? You're left with Keon Coleman, who's a raw rookie, Curtis Samuel, who's kind of been bounced around the league. Can he find his footing? Maybe. And then Khalil Shakir, who we saw flashes of, but like no one's really expecting him to take that step. I think we're looking at a situation here with Dalton Kincaid where I think he can easily, shouldn't say easily because anything with his numbers is tough for tight ends, but I think he can get over that 90 catch mark with Josh Allen in Buffalo. And I mean, I get you just said Kyle Pitts were leading receiving yards, but I mean, I think Kincaid's going to be right there with him.
Yeah, the range of outcomes for these young tight ends, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta, they're the next generation of elite tight end talent. I'm not mentioning Brock Bowers yet because we have yet to see him on the field as a rookie, you know what I mean? But high expectations for him as well. So he is in that list for me. But those 4 tight ends that I mentioned, not going to be mad to whichever one of those guys is the guy that is the predecessor to Travis Kelce, who is going to dethrone him as the tight end king. Travis Kelce's been on that hilltop for a long time now, and he's consistently sat at the tight end 1 or the tight end 2 in fantasy for quite some time. There's going to be a tight end that steps up into that realm of outcomes and is going to dethrone Travis Kelce, whether it be this year or whether it be next year. Travis Kelce's like on his last 2 years in the league, in my opinion. He's got a 2-year deal, and then I believe he's going to truly ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, that's my thing is I'm not here to like trash on any of these tight ends. Like, it just in my eyes, I mean, you got a good shot at Laporta finishing tight end 1, but yeah, he had one of the most inefficient seasons as a tight end 1 since Kelce entered the league and started his dominance.
Yeah,
Kelce's going on the other half of his career, and we don't know if we're going to get back to that prime 100 catch, 1,000-yard seasons for Travis Kelce. And you get the arrival of one of the best wide receiver prospects in a long time, Marvin Harrison in Arizona, who's going to be competing with McBride now. It's a toss-up, and I think it's going to be close to the top, but I think we're looking at Kincaid, at least for me, projections-wise, leading to the top of the pack.
Fair enough. So it's funny you mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. So with that being said, this QB hasn't finished in the top 5 in the last 2 years. A lot of people have forgotten who Kyler Murray really is. This is a guy who's never averaged less than 18 fantasy points per game in a full season, because after November, when Call of Duty drops, he's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But in QB1 is in the range of outcomes for Kyler Murray. We got a young, exciting offense. You got Trey McBride. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. You have James Conner mixed in with Trey Benson. Long term, this offense looks like a lot of fun. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. So, again, Kyler's fully healthy. We're talking about he looks good. Looks really good from the knee injury going into year 2. And Kyler Murray will finish as a top 5 quarterback.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to argue with him on this one. Me and you, well, I guess me out of the both of us is higher on Kyler Murray. I'm a big Kyler Murray guy. Have been, always will be. Even through the injury, I was still buying him at cost. I just think it's the move for him. He's got weapons now. He's back to when he had DeAndre Hopkins as far as like talent on the field around him goes, plus some, because you have McBride, who's playing great at the tight end position. You get a young running back with fresh legs back there to pair along with James Conner. I think this offense is going to the moon, especially because, I mean, defense isn't great. They're probably going to be playing back. I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities for touchdowns in these games. Kyler Murray, top 5. I'm not going to say lock it in, but I love it. I mean, like you mentioned it, anytime you can get a guy who's consistently 18-plus points at your QB spot, you take that and just run with it. I think you're going to see the same thing this year.
Kyler Murray's a beast, man.
But at the same time, I think if he put up 18 points last year, he would have finished QB7. So we're gonna need a little bit of an uptick from that. But that being said,
Yeah, but I also don't think it's fair to have a realistic evaluation of Kyler Murray coming back from an ACL tear. When most of his game relies on him moving in and out of the pocket, making plays with his legs. Now that he's fully healthy going into this year, I truly do believe that you're going to see prime Kyler Murray, the 2020 version of 2019 version of Kyler Murray, excuse me. He finished QB3. We've seen top 3 QB finishes for him. There's QB5 is always in his range of outcomes. QB1's in his range of outcomes.
Yeah. I got nothing. Kyler Murray. Hell yeah, baby. Especially where he's being drafted. Well, I can't say he's that. He's being drafted, what, QB9, I think?
QB9. Yeah.
QB9. I think
but realistically,
he's got plus upside.
He's got plus upside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the important thing with him, especially if you can get those legs moving again in 2024. All right, here's my 2 takes that really, really might bite me in the ass here. But might as well lay it out. This is things that I actually firmly believe in. Next one up, I think DJ Moore and Keenan Allen can both finish inside the top 15 as wide receivers in fantasy this season.
True.
Old take. I get it. Doesn't happen often. I think the last time it happened was in Philly 2 years ago with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. But they prove that you can do it. Listen, man. I think they're going to complement each other pretty well. Keenan Allen, they're going to get to that top 15 in different ways. I think Keenan Allen's going to be your PPR guy. I think DJ Moore is going to be your big play guy. And I think they can still balance that out and still be 2 productive wide receivers in fantasy. Plus, if you're watching, if you're paying attention, if you're looking at these videos that they're putting out from training camps, Caleb Williams is balling with these guys. He's making it look easy. Back of the end zone, these red zone plays. Steven tell me today alone on 7 drives inside 20. 7 touchdowns inside of 20 on how many drills?
7 drives, 7 for 7.
7
you
for 7.
had inside the red zone. You had Roma Dunze score 5 touchdowns.
Dunze was 5.
Keenan Allen scored 2. DJ Moore signed a lucrative contract today, so that's why he didn't practice.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next big point. Is like you figure they give him this big deal, he's probably going to be heavily involved in this offense. They don't have him going anywhere, and I get this is giving Roma Dunze a back seat in this offense, but I think as a rookie you can afford to do that and be just fine. I mean, you kind of saw it last year with JSN when he had Lockett and DK. I think you're looking at the same situation with Odunze this year in 2024. But that's, like we said, we preach patience on Odunze. But yeah, I think these 2, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, I think if you're worried about them clashing this year, I don't think you got a whole lot to worry about. I think they're 2 dominant forces in this league. And despite Keenan Allen's age, he's always going to be a crisp route runner. Lock it in, man. I think top 15 for both is not unrealistic.
So with the success of the wide receivers, does that mean Caleb Williams will have individual success at the quarterback position?
Yeah, sadly. Not sad. I shouldn't say that. Not sad. But I was part of that. Oh, Caleb Williams is overhyped. And I still even think, like, now he's still overhyped. To be fair, we still haven't yet him play, and he's being drafted QB whatever in Dynasty. But I don't want to get into Caleb Williams too much. Focus on these wide receivers. I just think you're going to see Cole Kmet take a back seat. Swift's in the backfield, but you've seen that he's in and out. And even if he's been in games the past couple seasons, he's not getting the same receptions he was doing when he was with Detroit early on in his career. So I just think the opportunity for them is there, and they're too good to not capitalize on it.
So what you're saying is the Chicago Bears offense is stacked.
Stacked, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, they're stacked. I mean, they probably have the best receiving corps. Well, one of the best receiving corps in the league.
So my next bold take should come as no surprise. Last year, I got to watch my wide receiver 1 with a 28% target share in 5 games without Deontay Johnson. In that 5-game stretch, he went for 377 receiving yards, almost 50 catches, and 50 targets, over 38 catches, and 5 touchdowns in those 5 games. That being Mr. George Pickens. I told everybody this is going to be the cheapest you will buy George Pickens for the rest of his career. George Pickens is a truly elite talent. George Pickens will crack the top 12 wide receivers.
Bold statement. but he's got that man. He's so good. He's got great body control. I mean, you saw a clip today. I think you reposted on your Twitter. For anybody that needs to go see it, check out Steven's Twitter. It's right in his handle right there. But great body control, and that's not something that's just came to fruition this year. He's had it since he came into the league. Dude's an absolute dog. No concern with the quarterbacks?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one.
Nope. Anything that's in the QB, anybody that's playing the QB position for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year is drastically better than what we had last year.
That's true.
Again,
yeah,
major upgrades to this team. Major upgrades defensively, major upgrades offensively. We seriously went back to fundamentals and boasted the O-line. This draft, we hit it, and we hit it hard. Now, with Arthur Smith, I know the passing volume may be a concern, but realistically, you have very young wide receivers to complement George Pickens and Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. Outside of that, not a whole lot. You got Van Jefferson. You got Quez Watkins, who came over from the Eagles this year. Freiermuth could have a huge season depending on health. Freiermuth is a great tight end, very, very stud young tight end, health related. That's all it comes down to. And then aside of that, it's the running back group.
Yep.
George Pickens is a focal point in this offense. George Pickens is the best skill position player on the field. We've seen the target share increase 13.5% year one, 21% year two. But like I said, those 5 games without Deontay Johnson last year where he drew a 28% target share, that has to stand out to you. The numbers that he put up in those 5 games have to stand out to you. George Pickens was a wide receiver 1 in those 5 games. And if we get a fully healthy season of George Pickens north of 25%, I don't see how he doesn't finish as a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah. I think it's definitely the realm of possibilities for him, especially because he's that big play guy. So he doesn't even need a huge increase in targets or catches. He just, if he can get 85, 90 catches in this offense, I mean, I think it's the moon for George Pickens. I think it's
lights out, bro.
I think it's lights out. And it's in the cards for him for sure.
Yeah. So again, like I told you guys, this is the last chance you have to buy this man cheap. This is it. This is it. So if you want George Pickens, go get him.
Gotta go get him. Last take from me. I think you got one more in you. You got one more.
One more in me. Yep.
Another bold one for me. But this is giving me a reason. I've been wanting to talk about this guy for probably about a month now. This is a pretty good excuse to speak on him. We're talking about a guy being drafted right now at redraft wide receiver 61, who I think has the capability to crack the top 30 relatively easy, given the opportunity that he has. I'm talking Josh Palmer, which isn't a pretty name. I understand that. He hasn't cracked inside the top 30 yet, but he hasn't had the opportunity anywhere near the opportunity he has right now. He played alongside Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Austin Eckler in a loaded offense for Justin Herbert early on. But now, no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams, no Austin Eckler. These guys are leaving out the door. I get you add Ladd McConkey, but he's also a young rookie that we don't really know 100% what you're going to get out of him year one. Josh Palmer's been around, and even given the opportunity in 2022 when Mike Williams spent time out, Josh Palmer received 10-plus targets in multiple games, had a few games over 100 yards. I think this could be the year he can finally crack that top 30 mark and take a step in this offense. And I think it's just more so anything at all, just a value pick late in your redraft thing. You can kind of pick him and just hope for the best. I mean, the target's going to be here. You figure Ladd McConkey's there, but outside of that, Quentin Johnston, who we see even in training camp, still trying everything in his power to get body catches every single time. And most of the time, he's dropping the ball. I think Quentin Johnston is probably – it's early for any receivers, but I think he's a bust. I'll say it. It's not a hot take from us over here at Yard Sport. We've been saying this for a while now, especially our main man, Alex. But, yeah, I think the opportunity is going to be there for Josh Palmer. I think he'll capitalize.
Yep. Love Josh Palmer. Great pick in any of your late rounds of your drafts. I believe I have him in the Warrior Bowl and the Scott Fish Bowl. There's only 2 leagues I play redraft in. I love me some Josh Palmer, one of the most undervalued wide receivers in the game. at this point in your fantasy football seasons. Wide receiver 61, you said. That's absolutely ludicrous. He deserves to be ranked, in my opinion, the 40s at least. And then
exactly.
And then, like you said, the ability to crack the top 30, you truly believe is a thing, and I believe it as well.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people are going to question you for the Greg Roman, Harbaugh approach here. What kind of balance are they going to have when it comes to the run game via the pass game as well? How many passing attempts is Justin Herbert going to have? But it's kind of like the Arthur Smith scenario as well. I do believe Arthur Smith's going to pound the rock, but I do believe, and I don't believe that's going to limit George Pickens in any way. It shouldn't hurt Palmer. Palmer's the most reliable wide receiver going into the season for the Chargers.
Yeah, and to those who say, yeah, sure, it's running first. I mean, I get that 100% Harbaugh and Roman. I mean, that's kind of their go-to thing. But at the same time, I don't think, and this show is strictly for this 2024 season, I don't think they have their franchise running back. I mean, Vidal might be nice, and at least they'll come up, but I think it's more of a one-season thing for Vidal. I mean, this next year's class is absolutely loaded with running back talent. I think they're going to bring one of these guys in next year. I think if it's going to be a year for Josh Palmer to do it, it's absolutely this year.
Yeah. So my last take, I've been preaching him all season. Malik Neighbors wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I didn't get to talk about DK. I do believe also that DK will crack the top 12 wide receivers this season. Big fan of the offensive coordinator change over there. Talking about aligning DK up in the slot, moving him all across the formation, getting creative with him and how they get the ball in his hands. That's just money. By DK, like Ryan said, by DK.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying. Malik Neighbors, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I've watched a lot of Malik Neighbors tape. Malik Neighbors is my favorite wide receiver from this class. It is well known. I have said that many times on this podcast. So, with that being said, we go into the training camp tape. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No joke.
Wow. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. looks good too. I know Caleb looks good in Chicago. I know Jaden has looked good in his from what I've seen in Washington. I know Drake May looks good over here. Give me Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors is that guy, man. I'm trying to we referenced on another podcast we did, but and the point where that I say with Malik Neighbors is like you see the talent that he had in college and what he was doing in college, and it seems like he hasn't missed a step between college and NFL. And I think that's huge for any rookie to be able to make that seamless transition into the league. And I think he's going to be what he's supposed to be, man. I think, as high as the Giants took him, go Giants. I think they got their guy. Lock him in as a true franchise receiver for them.
Yep.
And like I think we both said in the past, easily 120, 130 targets for this guy in this offense.
Yes. I know the coaching staff has talked about how they want him to be the featured focal point in this offense. Ryan and I talked about it. The skill position group that he grew up with, no Odell, no Evan Ingram, no Saquon Barkley. Those guys are gone. It's faded out. Young tight end group. Wan'Dale Robinson hasn't lived up to his expectation. Kadarius Toney is no longer on the roster, their first-round pick from 2019. Darius Slayton probably has the most connection with Daniel Jones. And Darius Slayton, we're nowhere near on the same level.
No,
nowhere near.
Close, yeah.
So Malik Neighbors, for me, is my favorite rookie right now in training camp. I've been so impressed with this kid. And, yeah, I'm not surprised if Malik Neighbors pushes the 140-plus target mark. I'm really not. I'm really not. There's nobody else to really get the ball to in this offense. Malik Neighbors, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Now, that's a bold take right there, baby. I think the projection's going to be there for Malik Neighbors. Yeah, no doubt in my mind. But he's got some real competition there for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Typically, most awards are QB awards.
QBs. That's my thing. Most of the time, it's a quarterback. I mean, even you saw Puka get dethroned last year, which was kind of sad, but
it was sad.
Yeah.
Give me Neighbors. So, well, as we were talking about, we're going to start checking into training camp here before long. It's about that time that Ryan and I get back into the dynasty mindset. So we just wanted to drop a bold take before the season starts. Fantasy Receipts, if you're watching, I know you follow me, so hello. On that note, We're going to get into training camp takes here soon. Hall of Fame game is Thursday night. We will not see Caleb Williams. We will not see Roma Dunze in action. It's unfortunate, but football is back. It's our first taste of football since February. Here we are. Ryan, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, knocked it out a quick one today. Glad to get the content in and out fast for you guys. We hope you enjoyed the video per usual. Put a lot of time and effort to these things, and it really does feel really solid to have you guys backing us every step of the way. I think this is something I haven't said in a while, but you guys are our foundation, our ground floor for our fan base, and for those of you guys that check us every episode, week in, week out. I know it's been a month, but we still love you guys. Life happens, and we're ready to get this thing back going, man.
Let's do it. We missed you guys over here at Yards Per. You guys are family. We missed you so much. On that note, we are going to call it a night. We do have a second show for you guys this week. Like I said, we're going to dive into some training camp takes, some rookie previews and things like that. Check in how your dynasty drafts are going, your rookie stocks, things like that. That is next on the agenda for us. But as of tonight, on that note, we are out.